Hello, friends. Today we will dive into one of the most pressing social issues of our time, a problem faced by the world's most populous country, China. We will talk about how the Middle Kingdom found itself on the verge of a demographic catastrophe and what unimaginable, truly revolutionary measures the government is taking to avert it. China, a country we associate with billions of people, relentless growth, and economic might. But behind this facade lies a quiet yet deadly anxiety. As of the end of 2024, according to official data, the country's population has been shrinking for the third consecutive year. And believe me, this is only the beginning. The roots of this problem lie in the 20th century. Decades of the one-family, one-child policy, introduced in the late 70s, did not just halt population growth. They changed the cultural code of the nation. An entire army of single small families was created, where one child was expected to be responsible for supporting two parents and four grandparents. This is a model that is simply unsustainable in the long run. The authorities realized their mistake and lifted the restrictions. First, they allowed 2, then 3 children. But the trains had already left the station. Young people, raised in conditions of fierce competition and a high cost of living, simply do not want to tie themselves down with obligations. They are focused on their careers, exhausted by stress. Most importantly, they are not rushing to get married. The statistics are relentless. The number of marriages in China has been falling year after year, reaching historic lows. The government recognized the key chain reaction: no marriages, no families, no children. Therefore, the strategic strike was aimed not at fertility directly, but at the institution of marriage. To boost the birth rate, the Chinese authorities decided to go all in, focusing on making marriage not a duty, but a celebration and a privilege. Previously, the marriage registration process in China was a symbol of tedious bureaucracy. Long queues, dull offices, and critically, being tied to your household registration, your hukou. If you were from different provinces, you had to travel hundreds of kilometers just for a signature. This created enormous barriers for millions of young couples living and working far from home. The Chinese authorities decided to destroy the bureaucracy. The revolutionary step was the official permission to conclude marriages anywhere within the country, regardless of the hukou. This move immediately removed a huge layer of problems. But they didn't stop there. The authorities gave the green light to creativity. The idea was to integrate marriage registration into everyday life. You are no longer obliged to go to a dry government office. Now, you can get married in a shopping mall, right in the middle of a shopping spree. You can register your marriage at a music festival just after your favorite band's concert. In Sichuan province, registration points have been opened against a backdrop of scenic mountains. In Shanghai, in trendy art centers, and in some cities, even in metro stations. Local authorities are literally competing to make marriage registration as attractive as possible. They are setting up temporary mobile offices decorated like wedding pavilions. This is no longer a procedure. It's a show, an event, and a photo shoot all in one. And as the icing on the cake, the state has become the most generous wedding guest. Couples who get married are given gifts and certificates, which can amount to hundreds or even thousands of yuan. These are not just symbolic souvenirs. Vouchers for purchasing home appliances, discounts on travel packages, free tickets to cultural events are all on the table. In some provinces, such as Zhejiang, direct cash payments are being offered, which can cover part of the wedding expenses. The government is literally paying young people to say, "I do," turning marriage into a kind of economic startup. And here's where things get most interesting. This scheme is actually working. Despite the skepticism that always accompanies such state experiments, the statistics speak for themselves. In the third quarter, after these measures were widely implemented, the number of registered marriages in China jumped by a stunning 22% compared to the same period last year. This is not a random spike. It is hundreds of thousands of new families created in just 3 months. Why such a success? It's not just about a 22% discount on a refrigerator. The main effect is psychological and social. The state has, in essence, destigmatized and romanticized marriage. It removed all the adult and complicated aspects, replacing them with simplicity, beauty, and financial benefit. Marriage has become a fashionable trend, something that people are proud to share on social media. The removal of the hukou requirement is perhaps the most powerful bureaucratic lever, which simply freed millions of couples. However, we should not be quick to declare victory. This is only half the battle. The increase in marriages is a wonderful, but only the first step. The biggest and most complex problem is getting these new families to want to have 2 or 3 children. Experts note that marriage is being incentivized, but the fundamental issues suppressing fertility remain. These include the astronomical cost of living, prohibitive housing prices in major cities, and, most critically, the unbearable competition in education, which forces parents to spend vast amounts of money and time on tutoring. If these economic and social barriers are not eliminated, the wedding boom may turn out to be just a temporary spike that will not lead to a baby boom. Will China be able to convert its wedding successes into a birth rate increase? That is the question that will determine the future of the entire global economy. The China case is an unprecedented lesson for the whole world. It is an example of how a state, when faced with an existential threat, uses creativity, financial incentives, and direct administrative solutions to tackle a fundamental demographic problem. They understood a simple truth: bureaucracy is the enemy of childbearing. They made the most important decision in life maximally simple and attractive. And this experience must be thoroughly studied. Many countries, from Japan and South Korea to European nations and Russia, face a similar problem of aging and declining populations. Everywhere the birth rate is falling, governments should look closely at Beijing's experience. Not just appeal to people to have children, but remove the barriers to family creation and make it financially beneficial. Because in the modern world, it is no longer enough to just tell people, have children. You need to give them a convenient opportunity, a compelling reason. And as China shows, sometimes you just need to give them a large, generous gift. And what do you think about these measures? Would you register your marriage at a music festival for gifts from the state? Share your thoughts in the comments.